We performed together for the first time was it in that show by Stuart Lee?
Yeah, Stuart Lee's show, Moby Dick and King Dong versus King Dong. Julian played King Dong's penis.
Enormous penis. It is.
And I played King Dong. And we thought, let's do a show together, let's ditch Lee, do a show together.
They did their first gig at Orange Boom, which is a sort of in Chinatown in London, and which was ridiculous. I mean, it was really like ridiculous costumes, and they didn't really know what they were doing.
Because it would be stand-up, and people would come on and do straight stand-up. And then we used to put potted plants all around the gig, and music on.
Little dear, I love you. You look like a giant spoon. Come now, my friend, in the boot of my car. Car again!
There were no wings, so I used to come on from behind a cardboard box.
The juice like a goose, right out of control, like a flying bean in the night, coming fast like a rah. Look at me go, like I had to come in a twisted. No, I'm out of control, I'm flying. What do you think you're doing?
To try and make it into a sort of play in like 10 minutes in the interval. And it was a really laddie, sort of boisterous pub, wasn't it? People couldn't believe the audacity.
It was very raw, but it was hilarious.
It got some sort of reputation as being sort of enigmatic, but we were just really unprofessional. You didn't know anything about theatre or what you did.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, look at you.
I was in a Sartre play at university, I love you now.
Really?
Yeah, Wee Clo. Huh?
Wee Clo?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew he was a lovey.
Early on we had Rich Fulcher. We were working on a sketch show with...
We built this puppet called Rich Fulcher.
We did this sketch show called Unnatural Acts. All three of us, me, Julian and Noel, and a guy named Sean Cullen.
And then Sean Cullen ended up having to go back to the States or something, Canada. And
some bullshit.
He ended up doing some bullshit. What was it? The producers on Broadway.
And Sean, unfortunately, threw up on his pelvic region, and it sort of dried up, and he couldn't walk.
But Rich sort of wouldn't leave us alone, would he? We said it was a foursome, Rich. He kept banging on the window. Let me in, I can play something.
So the three of us wound up doing a show together.
They thought, well, let's do a show, Edinburgh show. I think they started to think about doing that, so they got a gig at Hen and Chickens in Islington.
They would use the Hen and Chickens as a kind of, I don't know, it's a platform to just try stuff out. And it was just a great little place. They could do a regular spot, I think it was Monday nights, where they would probably write and have ideas in a week, try stuff out for half of that, and then for the rest of it would just be improv and mucking about.
Well, you know, is he a dog? Is he a sausage?
Then they took the Mighty Boosh up to Edinburgh. It went down the storm. They were nominated newcomer. And then 2 more shows, Arctic Boosh, Auto Boosh.
They won Best Newcomer with the Mighty Boosh, and then they got nominated for Perrier with the Arctic Boosh.
So we did the radio show.
We'd take it to the kids, didn't we?
Yeah, and we did. We sort of recorded it in a sort of old railway sort of
disused
arch underneath.
Insured it.
Yeah, and sort of built our own studio out of
in the ditch.
We had sort of muffled it all with children's toys and
children's faces.
Yeah, and just
we
stuffed
made
loads of children
trendy,
in the air vents and stuff. Just
no
to
one was
kind of dampen it a bit.
At that point. We did a radio show,
and
we got a lot of trendy people's faces, didn't we, for padding?
Yeah.
No,
we used razor light to baffle some of the corners.
That's where we started out. Actually, it's not very well known. But razor light started out in doing insulation and studio baffling.
Singer, he's quite thin. We squeezed him into a crack in the wall.
Yeah.
We said, you stay there until we finish episode 6.
Mel said to me, get in there. So you did.
We wanted to get on TV, but it had been a lot of trouble because they thought it was the scripts we sort of gave them were sort of like massive epic adventures that sounded like it would cost £1 million to make. So they said, "This isn't. I don't know how it's going to work on stage." Well, actually, what happened? They said, "I don't know how it's going to work on TV from the stage show."
We wrote it for Channel 4 originally.
Right, yeah, so we wrote it before we'd done a stage show.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And they said, "How's this going to work on TV?" So, because it's ridiculous. So we did a stage show,
So we had
and then
the
they
bright
went,
idea of doing
did
it as a stage show.
and then they said, "How's that going to work on TV?" Because it's really good live. So perhaps we should have done it inside a television set.
And I saw the Mighty Boosh live in Edinburgh in a very hot room about 5-6 years ago, and fell in love with them both equally at that point, and always wanted to do something with them.
A bit of a word on the street was kind of getting a bit big, and so people were coming to see them, and I think that's when Steve Coogan and Mr. Henry Normal came along and saw the genius.
Then a script arrived from Stephen Henry, and like when I read Nighty Night, I just knew from page one that this was something entirely different and unique and lovely, and it was a no-brainer for me. I loved it.
He's communing with the spirits, okay? Namu's an enigma.
Tell me how you got involved with the Boosh.
This guy's amazing. He's enigmatic.
Are you mentally transferring images into the audience's minds now as we speak?
He just told me he's gay.
We hired like a big polar bear costume and put our mate in it. And he was in it for so long, he passed out. Came on all floppy.
Yeah. Is that Pete?
Yeah. We nearly killed him.
Rich wasn't in the country at the time, was it? So we got Matt Holness to do...
From Garth Marenghi.
Yeah.
He's a mute. He can't talk, he can't see. He doesn't even know he's alive.
Somebody else played Bob Fossil, didn't they?
You said you were going to stop the cameras the minute you said something about that. God damn it. I swear to God, I will chew your ass out if you ever mention the other Bob Fossil, you suckbag! Yeah, a very close colleague of mine, Matt Holness, played Bob Fossil one night at the Hen and Chickens.
Richard Iwaddy from Garth Marenghi.
Yeah.
He was originally Bainbridge.
This is Dixon Bainbridge.
Yeah, there he is.
He's an explorer, basically.
Yeah.
He's got interesting genes. His mum's Norwegian, his dad's African, so we wanted to utilise that sort of blonde Roger Moore, sort of black Roger Moore look of his. But then he couldn't do the pilot, could he? No, he did the pilot. Then he couldn't be in the series.
The people I think are a little bit scared of how the Boosh would translate to TV, just purely because they were so great live, and everyone was kind of like, do we want to lose that? So the pilot was filmed in front of a live audience purely to try and get that performance from them two.
And in one of the scenes, I'll have the legs of a ram. That's not happening.
That is happening.
I rewrote that bit.
That's the best bit.
Get in your own.
We thought it would work with the kind of responsive laughter, but I don't know, when we looked at it, we kind of very quickly realised that you have to find your own meaning and laughs in the Boosh, and it's actually better leaving the space for people to discover their own meaning in the various lines.
I'm Bob Fossil and this is my zoo. Nevers.
I actually went to see the pilot being recorded, and it just looked incredible. The Arctic episodes just got some of the most amazing stuff, and it was directed by somebody called Steve Bendelak, who's one of my long-term directing heroes. Very fortunately for me, he wasn't available to direct the series.
Do you like Gary Newman?
The commissioning of the series then wasn't actually that difficult, and that was for one reason only, and that is because there was nothing like it.
I was in the south of France, and in the middle of nowhere, in the sort of countryside, and there were some cows, and you rang me up and went, "We've got a series," and I had no one to tell except for these cows.